Somewhere in East Asia lies a small island that most people rarely think about. It has a population of just over 23 million people. Its land area is smaller than many US states. And yet, if the single island suddenly stopped producing what it makes every day, the global economy could grind to a halt within months. Factories would shut down. Car production would collapse. Smartphone companies would panic. Even military systems used by the world's most powerful nations could be affected. Because this small island produces something the modern world simply cannot live without. Computer chips. Or more precisely, advanced semiconductors. The country at the center of this global dependence is Taiwan. Today, Taiwan produces the majority of the world's most advanced semiconductor chips. These microscopic components power almost every modern technology we use. Your phone, your laptop, your car, airplanes, medical equipment, artificial intelligence systems. Even satellites orbiting Earth depend on these tiny pieces of silicon. Without them, the digital world would stop functioning. But the dominance of Taiwan in this industry did not happen overnight. It is the result of decades of strategic decisions, government planning, and one company that changed the entire technology industry. A company called TSMC, the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. Today, TSMC is considered the most important chip manufacturer on the planet. Its factories produce chips for some of the world's biggest technology giants. Companies like Apple, NVIDIA, and AMD all depend on TSMC's manufacturing power. Even companies that design their own chips often rely on Taiwan to actually build them. This means that when you buy a smartphone, a graphics card, or even a modern car, there is a high chance that a critical component inside it was manufactured in Taiwan. But what makes Taiwan's chips so special? Why can't other countries simply produce the same thing? The answer lies in one of the most complex and expensive manufacturing processes ever created. Building advanced semiconductors requires extreme precision. Inside massive clean rooms, machines carefully carve microscopic circuits onto silicon wafers. These circuits are so tiny that thousands of them can fit inside a space smaller than a fingernail. And producing them requires equipment worth billions of dollars. Factories that manufacture these chips, known as semiconductor fabs, are among the most advanced industrial facilities ever built. Even a single particle of dust can destroy an entire wafer. That's why workers wear full protective suits inside ultra-clean environments. But even with unlimited money, replicating Taiwan's expertise would take many years. Because the island has built an entire ecosystem around semiconductor production. Highly specialized engineers, advanced research institutions, complex supplier networks, and decades of accumulated knowledge. Together, these factors have turned Taiwan into the beating heart of the global technology supply chain. And that is exactly why the island has become so strategically important. Because if Taiwan's semiconductor industry were ever disrupted, whether by conflict, natural disaster, or political crisis, the consequences could spread across the entire world economy. Car factories in Europe could shut down. Technology companies in the United States could stop releasing new devices. Manufacturing plants across Asia could halt production. And global markets could plunge into chaos. All because of a tiny component most people never see. But Taiwan's importance is not just about technology. It is also deeply connected to one of the most sensitive geopolitical tensions in the world today. The relationship between Taiwan and China. Because while Taiwan operates as a self-governing democracy, China considers the island part of its own territory. And that disagreement has turned Taiwan into one of the most strategically important places on Earth. The world depends on Taiwan's technology. But the political future of the island remains uncertain. Which raises a question that economists, governments, and military planners are all asking. What would actually happen if Taiwan's semiconductor factories suddenly stopped producing chips? Because the answer could reveal just how fragile the modern global economy really is. To understand why Taiwan has become so important to the modern world, you have to understand how the global semiconductor industry actually works. When most people think about technology companies, they imagine the brands they see every day. Companies like Apple, NVIDIA, or AMD. These companies design some of the most powerful computer chips on the planet. But designing a chip and manufacturing it are two completely different challenges. In fact, manufacturing advanced semiconductors is so difficult that only a handful of companies in the world are capable of doing it. And one company dominates them all. That company is TSMC, the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. Founded in 1987, TSMC pioneered a business model that would transform the global technology industry. Instead of designing its own chips, the company focused entirely on manufacturing chips designed by others. This made TSMC what is known as a pure-play semiconductor foundry. In simple terms, it became the factory for the world's most important technology companies. This idea was revolutionary. Before TSMC, most companies that design chips also tried to manufacture them. But building semiconductor factories is incredibly expensive. Each new generation of chip fabrication plants can cost more than $20 billion. And maintaining the technology inside those facilities requires constant upgrades and innovation. TSMC decided to focus all its resources on perfecting the manufacturing process. Over time, it became better than anyone else in the world. Today, the company produces around 90% of the world's most advanced semiconductors. These are the chips used in the most powerful smartphones, artificial intelligence systems, and high-performance computers. For example, when Apple releases a new iPhone, the advanced processors inside it are typically manufactured by TSMC. When NVIDIA builds the graphics chips that power artificial intelligence systems and data centers, those chips are often produced in Taiwan. Even companies that once manufactured their own chips have started relying on TSMC's advanced technology. One example is Intel, which for decades dominated semiconductor manufacturing. But in recent years, Intel has struggled to keep up with the rapid pace of innovation in chip production. Meanwhile, TSMC continued to push the limits of what is technologically possible. Its factories now produce chips using incredibly advanced manufacturing processes measured in nanometers. These numbers represent the size of the microscopic circuits inside a chip. The smaller the number, the more powerful and efficient the chip becomes. TSMC is currently producing some of the smallest and most advanced chips in the world. And this technological leadership has made Taiwan absolutely essential to the global economy. But the story does not stop there, because TSMC does not operate alone. It exists within a global network of highly specialized companies that supply the tools needed to manufacture semiconductors. One of the most critical partners in this network is ASML, a Dutch company that builds the extreme ultraviolet lithography machines used to produce advanced chips. These machines are among the most complex pieces of equipment ever built. Each one costs more than $150 million, and only a handful of them exist in the entire world. Without these machines, producing the most advanced semiconductors would be impossible. Another key supplier is Applied Materials, which provides critical semiconductor manufacturing equipment used in chip fabrication plants. Together, companies like ASML, Applied Materials, and TSMC form the backbone of the modern semiconductor industry. But despite this global network, Taiwan remains the center of the system. That means a massive portion of the world's advanced chip production is concentrated in a single geographic location. And that concentration creates both economic power and enormous risk. Because if something were to disrupt Taiwan's semiconductor industry, even temporarily, the shock could spread across the entire global economy. And that is not just a theoretical scenario. In recent years, the world has already experienced a small preview of what a semiconductor shortage can look like. During the COVID-19 pandemic, disruptions in supply chains caused a shortage of computer chips. Car manufacturers across the world suddenly found themselves unable to produce vehicles. Factories slowed down, delivery times increased, and prices for electronics began to rise. But that shortage was relatively minor compared to what could happen if Taiwan's chip production stopped completely. Because Taiwan is not just one of many semiconductor producers. It is the central hub of the entire system, which means that if Taiwan stops producing chips, the effects would ripple through almost every industry on Earth. And that brings us to the most important question of all. What would actually happen if Taiwan's semiconductor factories suddenly shut down? Because the answer could reveal just how fragile the modern technological world really is. By now, it should be clear why Taiwan occupies such a unique position in the modern world. The island may be small in size, but its semiconductor industry powers much of the technology that keeps the global economy running. From smartphones to cars, from artificial intelligence to military defense systems, modern civilization runs on chips. And Taiwan sits at the center of that supply chain. But this concentration of power also creates one of the biggest economic vulnerabilities in the world today. Because if something were to interrupt Taiwan's semiconductor production, the consequences would spread far beyond the island itself. Imagine this scenario. For any reason, whether political conflict, natural disaster, or major economic disruption, The semiconductor factories operated by TSMC suddenly stopped producing chips. At first, the impact might seem small. Technology companies would rely on their existing inventory. Manufacturers would continue assembling products already in production. But within weeks, the effects would begin to appear. Smartphone manufacturers such as Apple would struggle to produce new devices. Major technology firms like NVIDIA and AMD would face delays in producing advanced processors. And soon, other industries would begin to feel the shock. Modern cars depend on dozens, sometimes hundreds, of semiconductors. They control everything from navigation systems and safety sensors to engine management and braking systems. Without these chips, automobile production lines around the world would begin to slow down. Factories in Europe, North America, and Asia would face the same problem. They simply would not have the components needed to finish building vehicles. And the disruption would not stop there. Medical equipment such as MRI machines, hospital monitoring systems, and diagnostic technology also rely heavily on advanced semiconductors. Even the financial system depends on servers and data centers powered by sophisticated computer chips. If the shortage continued, technology companies could be forced to delay product launches. Manufacturers could shut down factories, and global markets could experience massive uncertainty. In fact, the world already experienced a glimpse of this scenario during the global semiconductor shortage that followed the COVID-19 pandemic. During that time, shortages of relatively basic chips caused major disruptions in industries ranging from automobiles to consumer electronics. But the majority of advanced chip production in Taiwan continued operating. If Taiwan's most advanced semiconductor plants were completely halted, the consequences could be far more severe. This possibility is one reason why major world powers are now investing heavily in domestic semiconductor production. The United States has passed legislation designed to boost local chip manufacturing. New fabrication plants are being built across the country in an effort to reduce dependence on foreign production. At the same time, countries across Europe and Asia are also attempting to strengthen their own semiconductor industries. But building these facilities is not easy. A single advanced semiconductor factory can take years to construct and billions of dollars to operate. Even then, replicating the expertise developed in Taiwan over decades remains incredibly difficult. Meanwhile, the political tensions surrounding Taiwan continue to attract global attention. The government of China considers Taiwan part of its territory and has repeatedly stated its intention to reunify the island with the mainland. Taiwan, however, operates as a self-governing democracy with its own political system, military, and economy. This complex relationship has made the Taiwan Strait one of the most closely watched geopolitical flashpoints in the world. Because if a serious conflict were ever to occur in this region, the effects would extend far beyond politics. They could ripple through the global economy itself. This is why Taiwan is often described as the most strategically important island in the world. Not because of its size, not because of its military power, but because of the microscopic pieces of silicon produced inside its factories. Tiny components that power the modern digital world. In many ways, Taiwan has become the silent engine of global technology. An island whose factories quietly supply the chips that run our phones, cars, computers, and networks. And yet, most people rarely think about where those chips come from, until something goes wrong. Because in the modern economy, the smallest components often hold the greatest power. And in Taiwan's case, those components might just have the power to shake the entire global economy. The modern world runs on technology most of us never see. And sometimes, the fate of the global economy can depend on places most people rarely think about. If you enjoy discovering the hidden forces that shape our world, make sure you subscribe to Country Mystery, because there are many more countries, industries, and geopolitical secrets that quietly influence the future of our planet. And in the next episode, we might uncover another nation whose influence is far greater than its size. Until then, stay curious. Globe showing Europe, Africa.